So what are our final thoughts on being in a 300 million GP, 280 million GP guild? What do I think about what it's like? Let's chat. I've decided to go on a journey. Aldous Sandflys is leaving port. 100 million GP, 200 million GP, 300 million GP, and so on. So my time is coming near to the end in this guild, and I'm just going to talk freely and kind of reflect back on everything I've kind of learned in this area. So let's start first with the people. Nice people. The leader Joker, great guy. Really like what he's doing. Really working hard, but obviously he's trying to hold this entire guild himself. So great people. I think I'm going to talk a little bit about maybe life game balance. Probably in this is probably going to be a theme. There'll be a few themes we'll talk about. This guild focuses ensuring that people are having that good life balance. So there isn't the pressure to jump into everything, to do the remodding, to do that. And I think this experience is kind of typical around this area. I do think that in that 300 million, people have rosters of about 5, 6, 7 million. They've probably played for a long time. They've unlocked characters. And yet they're kind of stuck. Not stuck, but they're enjoying the middle ground, shall I say. And I think that's something that I would say is that at the 120 million GP, there's more you're unlocking. You're engaging with more. There seems to be more new stuff coming to the game. When you get to this sort of area, the 280 to 300 million, you are more in a sort of a... I hate to use negative words like slog or, you know, but you're in that sort of that slower progression, shall I say. Newer things are not coming along. You're not getting those exciting new things. We saw it in TW with the joining rates being lower. And again, we faced a guild that were also the same level of joining rate. So that seemed to be kind of more typical, where maybe guilds are full of 50 people, but the active people, or the people that are active every day, I think that's something you've got to be careful, or make sure it matches what you're looking to achieve, you know. And I think guilds like this one, the Galactic Function, are great guilds to be in, really nice people. And if you're looking for an experience where you're not going to be kicked out of the guild because you have a day off, or you have a day with your family, or, you know, I think this is the kind of really valuable guild to have. I think I listen to a lot of people at the higher end of the game, or, you know, or who are having to play it every single day, who get burnt out. They get sort of, they quit the game. I mean, we all have friends that have quit the game. Why are you quitting? It's just too much time. And I think that's a pressure that we put on ourselves rather than the game. It is a subtle game thing. Oh, you'll progress faster if you pick your phone up more, if you play the game more. Oh, here's a pop-up ad. I think that's and I think it's important we kind of talk about that balance and make sure that people are enjoying. I think, because I don't see anybody in this sort of guild getting burnt out. You know what I mean? They're able to play it at their own rate, their own speed. We talked in the last video about being in an alliance with the guild and what that means, and it allows people to kind of pick the game up, put the game down, play hardcore or play a lot if they can for 3 months in a different guild, and then drop to a different guild or move to another guild. If they want to take a little bit time with their family or time doing work stuff and things like that. So I think that's kind of the guild. Much flatter GP, we've seen it. Not this sort of 2 or 3 massive accounts and then a very long slow tail. We've seen a much flatter kind of distribution of GP. I guess if people start to get ahead of that, then I guess they maybe move, or if they fall behind, they maybe move, you know. But you start to see this, and again, that reflects the other guilds we played and things like TW, as to what they had, and they also had a very kind of flat. So seems to be kind of a flatter distribution. Something struck me actually when I was thinking about TW, and I don't think I talked about it in the video, but the rewards in TW are very key to this. Now, you cannot get droid brains, I think, until about a 300 million GP lock-in to TW. And that means that no matter how good you are at the game, you are not getting droid brains. Now that then locks you out of R9. And you need R9 now to get the Leviathan, the Profundity, some of the GLs, no, maybe not GLs, but you know what I mean. You are not being able to get that higher relic stuff that's locked only in one event, and is actually locked not only in TW, but it's locked at a high GP TW. I think that's something that CG needs to work on. I do think, I see no reason why everyone cannot just get one droid brain all the way down, or one Gurda, you know. Yes, you're going to get people who are going to have a few of these hoarded up, but TW runs, what, maybe 4 times a month? I don't know, yeah, something like that. It's not like people are going to get 1 billion of them. And I do think that that'd be something they should look at. I don't think we should be locking rewards, even reroll mats for Datacrons. We'll talk about Datacrons in a moment, but reroll mats and everything that's kind of locked at that top level. Sorry, I shouldn't say top level. It's just locked at the high GP of the guild. Now, that doesn't mean those players are any better at the game. They could be awful at the game. They just happen to have a higher account and 50 people with a high account. So I think that's I would love to see a more, just drag it down. I do think if you were giving people in this 300 million GP guild better rewards, and you were giving them access to some of these R9 sort of stuff. I mean, essentially what we're saying is you can get an R9 free to play if you're in a 280 million GP guild. You would have to spend crystals. Now, obviously you get crystals, so you could save up crystals and spend on that. So you can get it free to play, but you're having to spend the crystals that you've earned on that rather than get it through in-game rewards. So that's something that struck me. And then that then kind of plays on to what we said when we talked about the profile of the guild, about having not that many Leias, not that many Profundities or Leviathans, because of course some of those are R9 locked. So you can't get the or the higher relic locked anyway. So you can't get those in this guild. So maybe that's why you have this strange sort of band. Also, you talk about hard conquest is something that is also very dependent on new characters. And if you're in that middle farming area, you don't have those new characters. So again, you're sort of hamstrung when you get to there. So I would have to say the enjoyment level in this level of guild needs some work. I think if CG want to do anything, I think you need to, like I say, pull the rewards further down so that this area can benefit from those. Don't lock, just give 1 or 2 shards or one thing. Give them something so they can start learning about the economy of that piece, start seeing what they can do with that. I think that's important. I mean, all round, you're not locked for unlocking, like, yeah, Queen Amidala is actually Conquest. You're not locked for maybe getting Jar Jar Binks. You could, the first character you go after is Jar Jar Binks, so nothing stops you. So I think they need to pull some of the rewards down. Obviously, we did Geonosian Dark Side, and that was before that was as they were power creeping. They were going to plan, I think, on power creep even more with the characters, but then they kind of stopped. Well, no, they stopped, I guess, when they get to Light Side Geo. That was kind of the point they stopped. But Dark Side Geo, probably quite easier than I remember. It was always a bit easier, and I think that was one of the problems with it. It got obsoleted very, very quickly, probably within the first 6 months. But still posing a challenge for this guild. The battles do have multiple phases. You do actually need quite a high GP even deploying to get the stars. So yeah, I think I I would say I was surprised that we weren't doing ROTE and just deploying. I would have thought that would have been potentially better rewards, so I'm surprised we didn't do that. We did do the Leia raid. We did the speeder bike raid. But again, that's another thing that really struck me, was that if you look at the rewards, see if I can pull them up. Let me, yeah, I think I can I? Speeder bike raid, rewards. Yeah, okay, let me go over to, let me go in game. Hi, we're in the game. This is a problem as well. So the last guild I was in at 120 million got this crate, the 36 million crate. This guild, which is over twice the size, still gets the same crate. There's a real problem with this distribution in here. Like, why do we go 0, 16, 23, 36? Where the hell is my 70 million crate? It meant that actually when we were easily going to get to 36 million, I stopped. I only did 6 million. I had like 3 attempts left. I could have got more personal rewards, obviously. But as far as the guild's concerned, it didn't matter. We'd already achieved, there was no way we'd get to 108, and we got the 36. So I think there's a missing crate in here that isn't providing much of an incentive. And I think that's what kind of I'm talking about, is where is the incentive for these players that are 5 or 6 million to log in? Where is the incentive to try very, very hard in the speeder bike pursuit? Where is the incentive in TW if the rewards are locked at a GP level? I think you're missing out on exciting these people. And therefore you're creating a bit of a middle ground. Anyway, let's go back over and chat. So I think that's kind of where my thoughts are. I think I can see why people at this part of the area would then just sort of stop playing, have 2 days off, 3 days off, 4 days off, never pick the game up again, not log in for 4 or 5 days, because it isn't as exciting, maybe. Whereas people at the smaller, at the lower levels have more things unlocking, more things going on in their excitement, more things to strive for. So there's a couple of ideas, pull the rewards down, another crate in the raid. The TW matchmaking is okay, but again, it's too highly dependent on how many from their team turn up versus how many from your team turn up, and when do you turn up. So that's kind of a little bit icky, but you'll have seen that video when we talked about that. And yeah, I think whereas if I now summarize my entire journey so far, I had that people are doing all the tutorials up to level 85. They're excited, they're unlocking stuff, and then all of a sudden they get picked up by 100 million guild, who then helps them and explains and carries them through, and there's lots of excitement going on, and there's great rewards coming in, and TW is exciting, but you can't quite take part yet because you're still a small account. And you kind of enjoy it in there, but then maybe you then move on, grow up, but you move up in your account, your GP. You play the game for another kind of year or two, but then things slow down. The excitement maybe slows down. Whereas I would say that then as you start to get the newer conquest characters and you're able to do hard conquest, it starts to pick up again. So I would say that you have a sort of a lull, maybe. I don't want to say it decreases, but you have a sort of exciting, lots of things unlocking at the start, high excitement, and then very little new stuff appears, and then new stuff appears, and then you have that sort of bit in the middle that really, I don't know. It's nothing against the guild, it's nothing against the people, it's just where the game is. And that's kind of what I've kind of tried to reflect, or hopefully you've seen some of the stuff we've been doing, some of the in-game battles and things like that. Anyway, that's my thoughts. That's my thoughts on being a 300 million or 280 million GP guild. Any questions? Like and subscribe, write them down below. We are recording and then launching. You'll notice we're launching like a week after probably when it really happened. But I just want to make sure that I can get more kind of pre-loaded. Anyway, you guys look after yourself. Enjoy your swiggle. Enjoy each other. Say hi to everyone. and may the force be with you. Welcome, Sandflies.